What if the strongest emotion you have ever felt wasn't love, but addiction? Some people think about a person every minute of the day. They replay conversations, check social media repeatedly, imagine future scenarios that don't exist. And no matter how much it hurts, they can't stop. But here's the disturbing question. Why does a human brain become obsessed with certain people, goals, ideas, or even enemies, while completely ignoring everything else? The answer reveals something uncomfortable about human nature. A person wakes up and immediately checks their phone. No message. 5 minutes later, they check again. Then again. Then again. By the end of the day, they have thought about the same person hundreds of times. Most people call this love. But neuroscience tells a different story. Because obsession doesn't begin with love. It begins with uncertainty. And uncertainty is one of the most powerful psychological drugs on Earth. Think about casinos. If a slot machine paid every single time, it would quickly become boring. If it never paid, nobody would play. The magic happens in between. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. Sometimes you almost win. That unpredictability keeps people pulling the lever. Human relationships work in a surprisingly similar way. The people who create the strongest obsessions are often the least predictable. One day they are warm. The next day they are distant. One moment they make you feel important. The next moment they disappear. Your brain becomes trapped in a cycle of anticipation. You keep waiting for the next reward. But here's the strange part. The less available something becomes, the more valuable it often appears. And that tendency is deeply rooted in human evolution. For most of history, scarce resources meant survival. Food was scarce. Shelter was scarce. Opportunities were scarce. The brain evolved to pay special attention to things that were difficult to obtain. Thousands of years later, the same mechanism still exists. Only now the scarce resource might be attention, affection, status, validation, or a specific person. The harder something is to get, the more mental energy the brain invests in pursuing it. And that's where obsession begins. But obsession isn't only about desire. It's also about imagination. Most people don't become obsessed with reality. They become obsessed with possibilities. Imagine someone you barely know. You don't have much information about them. Your brain starts filling the gaps. You imagine their personality. You imagine your future together. You imagine conversations that never happened. Slowly, you're no longer attached to the real person. You're attached to a character your mind created. And that character is often impossible to compete with because it doesn't exist. This is why some of the strongest obsessions develop before relationships even begin. The mystery gives imagination unlimited space to work. Yet, this is where things become disturbing. The brain treats unfinished stories differently than finished ones. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Incomplete experiences stay active inside the mind. A song that suddenly stops. A mystery with no ending. A relationship without closure. The brain hates unfinished business. It keeps returning to it again and again, searching for resolution. This is why rejection often creates stronger obsession than success. When something ends without clear answers, the mind refuses to let go. It keeps replaying possibility. S. What did I do wrong? G. What could I have changed? D. What if things were different? T. The search for answers becomes a prizzo. N. And many people mistake that prison for patio. N. But the real reason is even darker. Obsession often has very little to do with the object itself. F. Instead, it reveals something about the person experiencing I. T. A person obsessed with status may actually fear insignificant. E. A person obsessed with wealth may fear insecure. Y. A person obsessed with another human being may secretly be searching for validation. N. In other words, obsession is frequently a mirror. R. The object of obsession becomes a symbol. L. The brain convinces itself. If I can get this one thing, everything will finally be okay. But reality rarely works that way. Why? Because the deeper problem remains untouched. D. History is filled with example. S. Kings obsessed with power. R. Inventors obsessed with perfection. N. Explorers obsessed with discover. Why? Some changed the world. D. Others destroyed themselves. S. The difference wasn't the intensity of their obsessio. N. It was whether they controlled it or controlled the M. Most people don't realize T. S. The same psychological force responsible for incredible achievements is also responsible for tremendous suffering. G. The scientist working day and night. T. The athlete training beyond exhaustion. N. The entrepreneur sacrificing everything for a visio. N. All are driven by forms of obsessio. N. Without obsession, many of humanity's greatest accomplishments would never exist. T. But obsession is like fire. Contained properly, it creates progress. S. Uncontrolled. It burns everything around I. T. And now we arrive at the biggest squeeze. T. Most people believe obsession is caused by having too much emotio. N. In reality, obsession is often caused by emotional deprivation. N. The brain becomes fixated on what it feels is missing. Loneliness increases obsessio. N. Boredom increases obsessio. N. Lack of purpose increases obsessio. N. A mind without meaningful direction naturally searches for something to attach itself to. O. And once it finds a target, it can hold on with incredible force. E. This explains why people going through difficult periods often develop intense fixation. S. The obsession isn't solving the problem. M. It's distracting them from I. T. For a brief moment, the obsession provides meaning. G. It provides excitement. T. It provides escape. E. But eventually reality returns. S. And the cycle begins again. So how do people break free? The answer is surprisingly simple, but incredibly difficult. They stop feeding the obsession. Every thought strengthens a neural pathway. Every social media check reinforces a habit. Every fantasy gives a fixation more power. The brain learns through repetition. What is repeated survives. What is ignored weakens. Over time, attention becomes fuel. Remove the fuel, and even the strongest obsession begins to fade. But here's the final truth. Human beings are obsession-making machines. We obsess over people, money, success, status, beauty, power, ideas, enemies, even ourselves. The question is not whether you will become obsessed. The question is what you choose to become obsessed with. Because the same force that can ruin a life can also build one. The same psychological mechanism that traps someone in endless suffering can drive extraordinary growth. And perhaps the most dangerous obsession of all is believing you're immune to obsession. Because the moment you think it could never happen to you, it already has.